everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I will be showing you the perfect one-day itinerary for Jaipur. Our first stop will be Hawa Mahal, popular as the Palace of Winds. Hawa Mahal is a remarkable sightseeing destination, famous for its rich past and cultural heritage in the Pink City. The palace has been featured in several Bollywood films, adding to its iconic status. After visiting beautiful Hawa Mahal, our next stop is Jaigarh Fort. The fort is open from 9 am to 6:30 pm. Jaigarh is a very beautiful palace in Jaipur. It is situated on the top of Aravalli Mountains. We can see Amir Fort Lake from this palace. Jaigarh Fort is known as a victory fort. The fort houses the world's largest cannon on wheels, a majestic palace complex and the assembly hall of the warriors known as Shubhat Nivas. The fort was also renowned for a huge treasure that was believed to be buried underwater in the tanks. It is now said that the government of Rajasthan seized the treasure when it was discovered in 1970s. The fort was built to secure Jaipur city and the Amir fort from warlords and rivals. The major attraction of Jaigarh Fort is Javan Cannon. Jaigarh Fort, Jaipur contains the world's largest cannon built in 18th century. It has only been used once ever since. This cannon is very huge and one of its own kind. This cannon was manufactured during the reign of Maharaja Savai Jai Singh at a foundry in Jaigarh. The cannon was fired only once with a charge of 100 kilograms of a gunpowder, and when fired, it was claimed to have covered a distance of about 35 kilometers. It is said that the projectile fired from it made a small lake in Chaksu. Though this is clearly an embellished legend and could not have physically happened. The gun holes on the walls are used to shoot the trespassers, as you can see on the walls. The shop present in the fort sells clothes treated with Multani mitti and the different Rajasthani articles which you can purchase on a very reasonable price. If you are visiting these palaces in the month of May or June or during the summers, keep yourself hydrated, wear sunscreen, keep hats and sunglasses with you because the temperature is very much high. It is around 44 to 45 degrees Celsius. The armory chamber situated in a fort is now a museum, which displays a lot of weapons and shields. You can find collection of guns, muskets, cannonballs, ancient pictures, swords and others. There are a few unfinished cannons and cannonballs too. This is the Lakshmi Vilas. This structure contains the drawing room and an emergency hall. This is the hall where army gathered during emergency. You can find huge war drums that were used to signal army. The complex behind the hall is the drawing room of the palace. You can find wall paintings here. The walls inside the palace were covered with a layer of multani mitti, urad dal, and chuna, which kept the fort cool in the summers and hot in the winters. The shop presented in the fort used to sell clothes treated with the multani mitti. The Lalit Mandir is the summer place of the king. There's a small theatre where royal entertainment were held in the past. Puppet shows take place here and you can also buy a few puppets as souvenirs. This part of the fort is the dining hall. The usual dinner in those days were veg and non-veg dishes along with rice, chapati, papad and sweets. Dresses and ornaments worn by the king and courtiers are also displayed. This is the beautiful garden inside the fort, which has low walls and the arched gateways. Royal families used to stroll in the garden in the past. This is the mesmerizing view of Jaipur city from the Jaigarh Fort. The walls of the fort are very thick and are made up of red sandstone. The length of the fort is 3 km and width is 1 km. There are many structures built inside the fort. There were many jharokas in the fort which were used for ventilation and to look outside the fort. There is a small museum which contains many artifacts, spittoons, drawn plan for the palace, stamps, photographs and other attractions. After spending around 2 to 3 hours in Jaigarh Fort, our next destination is Nahargarh Fort, which stands on the edge of the Aravalli Hills overlooking the city of Jaipur. Along with Amer Fort and Jaigarh Fort, Nahargarh once formed a strong defense ring for the city. The fort was originally named Sudarshangarh, but it became known as Nahargarh, which means abode of tigers. The popular belief is that Nahar here stands for Nahar Singh Bhumiya, whose spirit haunted the place and obstructed construction of the fort. Nahar's spirit was pacified by building a temple in his memory within the fort, which thus became known by his name. The tickets for the historical fort of Nahargarh cost Rs 50 for Indian nationals. For foreign tourists, the cost goes up to Rs 200. Students enjoy discounted prices. For foreign students, the ticket costs Rs 50 and Rs 25 for Indian students. Nahargarh Fort is open from 10 am and the gates of the fort closes in the evening at 5:30. The visitors are not advised to stay any later than that because the fort is surrounded by dense deciduous forest. The forest is part of Nahargarh Biological Park and home to many wild animals. The fort was constructed as a place of retreat on the summit of the ridge above the city. Walls extended over the surrounding hills, forming fortifications that connect this fort to Jaigarh, the fort above the old capital of Amber. Though the fort never came under attack during the course of its history, it did see some historical events, notably the treaties with the Maratha forces who warred with Jaipur in 18th century. During the Indian Mutiny of 1857, the Europeans of the reign, including the British residents' wives, were moved to Nahargarh Fort by the King of Jaipur, Savai Ram Singh, for their protection. The parts of the palaces are given to the different types of artists which have showcased their talent at the different places of the fort. By looking at the walls of Nahargarh Fort, it always reminds me how talented were our architects that time. In order to get the view from Nahargarh Fort, we have to first need to climb a few stories worth of very thin stairwells, all for the moment when you reach the top and the whole world opens back up and you are greeted with the amazing sight of Jaipur. There are many other places in Nahargarh Fort where you can visit, like few Babris are there, Wax Museum is there, and one Sheesh Mahal is also there. While Babris are free of cost, Sheesh Mahal and Wax Museum is having 500 rupees ticket for each person. Another Babri near the Nahargarh Fort is very famous because the famous song of movie Rang De Basanti was filmed here. To reach this Babri, you have to come out of the Nahargarh Fort and take the road beside it. It is just 100 meters away from the main Nahargarh Fort. The Amer Fort is one of the best tourist destinations not just in Jaipur but the whole of Rajasthan. Amer and the Jaigarh Fort are regarded as a single structure and a subterranean passage connects the two forts. It is believed that the passage was used to escape at times of war or enemy attacks. It is located on Chilka Tila on Aravali Hills. The fort was built by Raja Man Singh I, one of the Navratnas of Emperor Akbar. Later, expansions were undertaken by the successive rulers. With its amazing architecture that combines Mughals and Hindu styles, the fort built in red stone and marbles is a sight to watch and walk through with its high ramparts, many gates, cobbled paths, and splendid view. The Mauta Lake looks splendid from the fort. Few tips I want to give you when you visit Amer Fort. The Amer Fort, being one of the prime attractions of Jaipur, is crowded at all times, and if you wish to avoid much crowd, then visit it on a weekday. It is a vast complex and walking around is the only way to enjoy and feel its beauty. Hence wear comfortable shoes and clothing. Carry water bottles to hydrate yourself, shades and hats or caps. There are restrooms and cafe within the premises. We can reach Amer Fort by three ways. We can use stairs to walk, we can go by car, or we can take the elephant ride. Amer Fort is a part of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The fort and the town get its name from goddess Ambe, the prime deity of Meena dynasty. It is a place that should be a must visit for every Indian and for every art lover as it is full of artistic marvels, be it paintings, carving, architecture and so on. The Amer Fort Palace has 4 levels, each having a courtyard. The main complexes within the fort are Diwan-e-Aam, a hall meant for public, Diwan-e-Khas, a hall for private audience, the splendid Sheesh Mahal or the Mirror Palace, Jai Mandir and the Sukh Niwas, a complex that had natural air conditioning and that could happen because of the wind that blew across a water area built within. It is definitely a sign of creativity and wisdom of the time. It was mainly used for residence purposes by the royal families as opposed to Jaigarh Fort, which was more of a defense and armory location. An architectural marvel, the Amer Fort is a delight to just behold, and when you pass through its many courtyards or look around from above the fort, you are transported into a rich and elegant bygone era when living was about preserving and following culture and traditions. The Amber Fort even today looks as majestic, elegant, and splendid as ever. One of the main attractions at Amer Fort is the Sheesh Mahal, which has mirror mosaics and colored glasses all over. Even if a single candle is lit, its reflections in the thousands of mirrors inside the Sheesh Mahal make it appear like thousand stars. What a visual delight it is! Seven beautiful designs are carved on a pillar in the Sheesh Mahal, which includes a lotus, lion's tail, scorpion, hooded cobra, fish tail, cob or corn, and an elephant trunk. You have to cover the panel partially with your hands to view each of the design, an artistic marvel. While coming out from the Amer Fort, you will find two shops which have beautiful souvenirs from Rajasthan. While going back from the Amer Fort to Jaipur, you on the way you will find beautiful Jal Mahal, which is situated in Mansagar Lake. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope I helped you plan your trip in a nice and organized way. If you have any other queries, drop your comments in the comment section and do not forget to subscribe and like the video. Bye bye.